Hey, it's Anna. Welcome back to my channel. And today we are going to meet Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I am so excited. I don't know Jennifer Lynn Barnes' entire discography, but I think what she is most known for is the Inheritance Game series, which we are going to get the fifth one today, the Grandest Game. That being said, because I do actually have some time between when I'm going to post this and actually meeting her, I will be reviewing a little bit of the Grandest Game during this video, so there will be some spoilers for the Inheritance Game series. The Inheritance Games, you follow a girl named Avery Grams who winds up getting this insane inheritance, but in order for her to gain the inheritance, she has to live in the Hawthorne house for a year, and that means living with the family that all thought they were going to get some type of this inheritance, and they have absolutely no clue who she is. So the first three books really follow that storyline of being in the house for the year, the different trials and tribulations that Avery goes through, and then the fourth book is The Brothers Hawthorne, which I think technically in real timeline order, I think it does truly take place fourth, but you get to the same ending that you do as the third book. It's kind of an interesting layout in that sense. And then this fifth book is kind of starting out where the third book ended. But I think you have to read the fourth because of some of the characters that are in the fifth book. So just to keep that in mind. Unfortunately, I think there are going to be spoilers throughout the rest of this video once I actually meet Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So no spoilers for a little bit. Definitely just an event review. And this event review is actually going to be interesting because I'm not going to this event alone, and I'm also not going with my husband. I have an in-person book club with my assistant bowling coach and friend. So today we're actually meeting to discuss our July book club pick as we drive to Anderson's, because again, Anderson's is not like right down the street from me, even though I go there quite a bit. It is quite a drive. So, and she's never been to a book event like this before, so I'm super curious to hear her thoughts and all of that. She knows that I do book social media, so I don't know exactly what we're going to film when we get there, but I hope to get more clips than I usually do when I'm just alone. In case you were curious, our July book club pick was Abby Jimenez's Just for the Summer, but I actually read this in June, but this is like my top tier romance book this year. I don't know what Abby put in this. So after we discuss that, we have an hour and a half drive to get to Anderson's, and then the book event will commence from there. I have been looking forward to this event for, in theory, like over a year. What happened was Jennifer had wanted to stop at Anderson's for the Grandest Game, and I had a ticket for that, but unfortunately she had a family emergency and was not able to attend the stop. So when I saw that the Grandest Game was coming out, I was like, oh, maybe Anderson's will get her back, right? Maybe she'll be able to make this a more priority stop on the tour, I guess you could say, in terms of making sure that there was a spot for Anderson's in her tour schedule, just because she wasn't able to go. And it was a sold out event last year, and this event has technically been sold out twice this year. So when I had initially bought the ticket, it was very nice how Anderson's did this, by the way. Like, huge shout out to Anderson's. I think they did this the exact right way, was that they sent an email to everyone who had bought a ticket last year to meet Jennifer Lynn Barnes, basically saying, hey, we're gonna have Jennifer Lynn Barnes come back. You kind of get first picks of the tickets. And so I am number 29 in the signing line, which is very, very exciting. And then they ended up moving to a bigger venue after the first one sold out and adding more tickets. Now, with the addition of adding tickets, that means that Jennifer is only going to sign the Grandest Game. If you watch any other of my author videos, you kind of know that sometimes that rule gets a little bit thrown out the window. But I think part of it is based off of venue where that happens and how long they're there. So I need to double check which venue we're at, because we're not at the bookstore today. And when I met Tome Adeyemi, we were at one place where it seemed like, you know, we had to get out of there by a certain time. That was a weekend event. But for example, when I met Julie Soto and Ashley Poston, they signed all of the books that we had. But again, that was a weeknight event, so there was nothing else really happening after. Today is a Sunday. The event is at 2 p.m. So I wonder if we're going to be under similar like Tome Adeyemi restrictions, but I need to confirm the place where we're going. All right, so the specific location that we're going to is where I met Alex Michaelides, and at that book event, he signed all of the books that I had, and they had initially told people that, hey, they're not signing additional books. However, with Alex, he only has 3 books out in publication, and Jennifer, I think, has over 10. So I pulled up Goodreads super quick on my handy dandy laptop to look at all of the books that Jennifer Lynn Barnes has published, and definitely more than 10. So we have the Inheritance Game series, which right now has 4 books out, but there's a 5th one coming out in November. So in theory, bringing those 4 books, which I own those 4 books, I actually lent them to my friend that's coming with me to the book event, because I was like, you should probably read at least book 3 before we go to this book event so you kind of know what's happening. And then she has the Natural series, which is 4 books, plus a novella technically, but how that novella works is actually interesting. And I own all 4 of the Natural series. You follow like a group of kids that have these extraordinary talents and they work with the FBI to solve cases. What types of cases they solve definitely depends on the kids, because again, these are teens, so they're always pushing the boundaries. Loved this, fast pace. I would definitely recommend, especially in that YA age, if you're looking for some type of mysteries. This is a great series. So the novella is actually in the 4th book, Bad Blood. The novella is called 12, and so this is technically the full Bad Blood book plus the novella of 12 that you have. So technically there's 5 books, but really there's only 4 in print. This is the first time that 12 has been in print. Typically you could only read it as an ebook before. Then it looks like we have Raised by Wolves. I have no idea about that, but there's 3 books in there. We have Debutante, which looks like a duology, The Fixer, which also looks like a duology, The Squad, another duology, Golden, another duology, and then finally The Grandest Game. Now, I fully believe, could be wrong here, not an expert, I fully believe The Grandest Game, you have to read The Inheritance Game before you read The Grandest Game. I don't think you can read one without the other, because it's ran by Avery. So you have to know a bit about Avery and why she's running these games before you read it, in my opinion. And then obviously there has been word released that we're getting another novel in this Grandest Game universe called Glorious Rivals, which I am definitely very, very excited for. I know I haven't read the Grandest Game books, but I love Jennifer Lynn Barnes' writing. That being said, if somebody owned all of her books and brought those to the book event, that would be a lot. I would not be surprised if Jennifer Lynn Barnes said that she wanted to sign more books, and by more, I would say anybody that's an Inheritance Game fan, so I'm thinking up to 4. However, I really do like the Naturals, but I cannot bring 8 books with me. Again, I can just hide the books in my bag. No one's gonna search my bag at this Anderson event, and if they saw the books, they'd be like, put those in your car. Like, no, I can bring the books in. Again, if they say no books except The Grandest Game gets signed, I'm not gonna shove it in Jennifer's face, but I at least want to have them ready just in case. At a minimum, I think I'm at least gonna bring the Naturals. The Naturals in the 3rd book in the Naturals series, all in, I did have to check what the title was. Those are my favorites, and I think it would be really fun to have this one at least signed by her. The other 3, I might just throw in the car, but my bag is not big enough for all these books. So, and I'm not gonna bring like a huge bag just to fit all of the books in. So I think that's my plan, is this one is for sure going in my bag. The other 3 are gonna sit in my car. If I miss the opportunity, I miss the opportunity. It's fine. With that being said, I am going to pack my bag at some point today. I'm going to pretty much bring a water and a snack, because I'm not gonna bring another book or anything when I have a friend there with me. I feel like that'd be like a little rude. I don't know. We'll see. She can definitely bring like a physical book with her if we're in the car, because I'm doing the driving. So I'm not opposed to her like reading, you know, if you've reached that point of like you've talked about everything you want to talk about and then you just sit and either like listen to music or chill. Like, I have no problems with that. I obviously just can't like bring a physical book and drive, because that's not feasible. So let's go meet Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Again, it's a Sunday. It's a 2 o'clock event. They sold more tickets, and I've been to the concert hall. It is a huge concert hall. The only thing I will say about bringing somebody with me to this event is I know I can't do the things that I usually do with an event, which is like getting there super early and standing in line, you know, a ton of time. Like, I don't want it to be a not enjoyable experience. So, and since we're meeting with our book club before, which surprisingly has 2 more members this month, I know that that's going to impact the schedule a little bit. My goal is for us to leave where we're meeting for book club at the latest by like 12:30, so then we get there by 1:30. So we still have a little bit of time to like, if my friend wants to buy extra books, she can buy them like through the Andersons table that I'm sure they'll have, and then we can like find seats and whatnot. But I'm definitely not anticipating being anywhere near the front of the line for this one. No pressure in that sense. We are just going to have a good time, and I'm actually really excited to go with somebody and share this love of books with somebody in person. So let's go pack our bag and go off to meet Jennifer Lynn Barnes. It is Friday, August 9th. Sorry to update you so late. It has been the work week from hell. Love it. It has been a absolutely terrible work week. I have not been able to read absolutely anything. I clearly haven't updated you on the Jennifer Lynn Barnes event. That's what I'm going to try to do now, right before we go golfing, which is why I look like this. I feel like I look very different. I'm not good at golf either. I feel like I dress better than how I actually golf, which is a statement. So back to August 4th, meeting Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Super, super exciting. I went with my friend. I didn't ask her to film anything, actually. We just kept talking, and so my bad. Maybe one day I'll film more. Probably not. But getting to the Andersons event, I've been to this venue before. This is where I met Alex Michaelides, and we got street parking, which was great. I did not want to fight for free parking super, super close to the venue, so we were only like 0.3 miles away, which I think was pretty good. It was a beautiful day. We got there. The line was not too long, which I was very happy about. We got in and we got second row seats, like right in front of the authors that were there. Loved it, especially because I didn't think we were going to be that early, but we were earlier than anticipated, which was really, really cool. And after we got our seats, that's when I finally looked at like all the stuff in front of me. And on the tour, Jennifer Lynn Barnes was doing these like trading cards that you could get. So we all got 3 cards, and I'm really excited because my rare card, as you'll see in like the pictures next to me, was Lyra, which is the girl on the phone from the Brothers Hawthorne. So I'm really excited to have her card because she's the character right now I'm most curious about, and the character that Jennifer Lynn Barnes said that she was most similar to. And then of course got the book The Grandest Game. Hopefully I'm gonna read some of that, and that this won't be the end of the video. But after sitting there and talking with my friend, the Andersons folks came on stage and announced that Jennifer Lynn Barnes would sign an extra book. Always, always bring your extra books to a book event, because I did bring extra books and I'm so excited that I got my even one extra book signed. Such a treat. And I will hopefully show those books eventually, but that shows you just how like terrible of a week it's been. I don't even have my books down here to film this. I just want to make sure I get the words out. I got The Naturals signed by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which is her other series, and then The Grandest Game. I consider that close enough to the Inheritance games for me to feel like I have one book signed in each series. Even if that's not how it officially is, I don't care. It feels close enough to me. So I am extremely grateful for that. And then she actually signed my book, kind of special, because my name is a palindrome, so it's the same backwards and forwards, and that is the title of one of her stories in the Inheritance Games novella that's coming out in November. So it just felt really special to have like an extra little signature piece from her. Again, my friend and I used my 29th place in line. I feel extremely grateful. We got out of there so fast. I was super, super grateful for that. Andersons was actually checking ticket numbers this time too, which I thought was really good of them. And I hope they continue to do that at bigger events to check number lines, especially because I'm number 1 at one of my author events coming up. And Jennifer was so sweet, so well-spoken, so intelligent. She broke down, I feel like, her entire writing process, how she puts puzzles together. And I feel like I get inspired after every author event to a point, but I really just felt inspired after her event. I really felt like that, like, reading has always been a passion of mine, but I feel like writing is something that I want to dabble into. And I think everyone has that as a reader, where it's like, oh, I could write my story. But the fact that I like have written a book and I have a trilogy in my head and I have other stories in my head, it's just so inspiring to hear from her. I need better balance, and that's on me. And right now my focus has been reading, but hopefully my focus will be writing eventually. But I just felt so inspired after listening to her. The other author that was there, Erin Craig, I believe is her name. She also does signing line. People were excited to see her. I haven't read any of her books. I haven't heard of any of her books, but I was excited to see how excited people were to see her too. So overall, I feel like this was a really smoothly ran Anderson event. I feel like the only part that could be better, and this is just a little personal thing, the Q&A, they always do it with like a microphone that you have to hand to people, but I felt bad. This poor worker was just running like back and forth trying to get like as many different people questions as possible, and I almost wish they just had 2 microphones and like 2 employees, one on either side, that could then like hand microphones to people to help speed up their Q&A process. But I really enjoyed this event, and I am so excited to be able to go to more. And of course, because I still have time before this video is posted, because this is posting on August 13th, I'm hopefully going to have a little bit of a review for you for The Grandest Game. Now, I feel like The Grandest Game, you need to read now all 4 books before you read it. I thought before you could get away with just the first 3, but no, you seriously need to read the 4th book before you read The Grandest Game. So this is the part where there will most likely be spoilers for the books, hopefully after this, once I read some of the book. I will say it was really funny because my friend finished the final gambit, so the 3rd book in the Inheritance Games, that morning. And let me tell you, if she had not finished it by that morning, she would have gotten spoilers at the event, which, listen, that's fine. I have no problems with talking about previous books and spoilers in those previous books, especially if those books have been out for years before coming to the author event. What I have an issue with is that if The Grandest Game got spoiled at this event, because The Grandest Game had been out for not even a week when we went to this author event. It's now been out a week and a half. I still think you gotta wait at least like a few months to a year before an author talks about like the previous book in a series. You know what I mean? I will say if you're going to an event that is specifically like a sequel in a series, you should definitely make sure that you have read the book prior to the series, because I feel like that's the appropriate place for those spoilers. So I feel like that's my stance on spoilers there. But hopefully I'm going to cut to me actually reading the book. Won't be right away though, because we're gonna go golfing. So hopefully I will get some reading time this weekend and then can give you my thoughts. I'm really curious because Jennifer did spend quite a bit of time talking about how she got to each different POV's like voice, how if she started working on a different point of view in the Grandest Game, she would literally have to like step back and kind of like cleanse her mind and really get into the voice of the new character to make sure that each voice is really distinct. So I'm really curious to see how that goes. And I know that she mentioned this is like the second annual Grandest Games, and so I'm very excited to see what that all looks like. And yeah, I am hopefully going to cut to me doing a little bit of a review. I don't expect myself to finish the book. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Do not expect myself to get it done, but I would love to let's set a goal actually. So it is Friday right now, and the next time I would realistically post some type of like either record some type of recap or whatnot would probably be Sunday night. So I'm gonna hope that by Sunday night I have at least 50 pages read. At a minimum 50 pages. I would love to have more, would love to be really impressed by myself, but gotta be realistic here. So let's finally get to reading The Grandest Game. It is August 12th, and surprisingly, I finished The Grandest Game, so I actually have a full review for you, which is very exciting. I did briefly in person want to show, because now that I have my stuff together, I actually brought down the trading cards that came from the event. I think this was really cool to provide for folks at the event. So in the bag, you pull it out, and you have 3 cards and also a guide for the Grandest Game. So as you can see, we have Lyra, because I've been pronouncing her name wrong. We have Savannah, and we have Brady. And then it comes with this little collector set, and you can see the different cards. We obviously only got 3, so in terms of getting more, I don't know how people are gonna do that. I didn't see anyone get the ultra rare Golden Grayson. I assume there's like 1 per tour event, but I still thought this was a pretty cool promotional item, and I am most excited to have Lyra. She's definitely my favorite character from this book by far. I really enjoyed her backstory and everything like that, so I'm excited to get into it. I also did bring the Inheritance Games with me, but did not get it signed. You can see my little post-it note in the paperback of the Naturals, and that is because I did get the Naturals signed. And then we have the Book of the Hour, The Grandest Game. The hardback is white with then blue text on the side. I know the Barnes & Noble special edition has the white cover, so this was just obviously from the event. This is signed, and I have surprisingly finished it. I can't believe I just said 50 pages as my goal. I talked about how much I love Jennifer Lynn Barnes' writing, and one of the things I think she does is that her writing style is very, very quick. So in the Grandest Games, you have 3 perspectives. And one of my bigger critiques of Jennifer's books in the past is that it almost was too fast. I think the 3 perspectives really slowed her down and made the pacing of this book absolutely fantastic. So we have Lyra, who believes that her father's unaliving that he did himself was caused by a hawthorn, because her father tells her that a hawthorn did it, and she gets this invitation in the mail to come to the Grandest Games, technically the second annual Grandest Games, and she decides to go. And then the second perspective, you have Rohan. So Rohan is someone you meet in book 4 with the Brothers Hawthorne. So again, if you haven't read the Brothers Hawthorne, there will kind of be spoilers, not necessarily in this description, but when you read the book, there are definitely spoilers to what happened in book 4. And I'm honestly sure book 4 maybe is going to come back to haunt Avery and Jameson in book 6. So definitely read the Brothers Hawthorne. And Rohan is trying to be the proprietor at Devil's Mercy, which is this like extravagant underground club that has all these secrets in London. And the proprietor basically tells him like, hey, your buy-in to take my job is $10 million, even though I'm old. So go find $10 million. You can't use your connections at the Devil's Mercy. Go and find them. And because Avery was never technically a member of the Devil's Mercy, but that's where Rohan met her, he knew once the next Grandest Games was announced that he wanted to get in. How Rohan gets into the Grandest Game is that he finds a wild card ticket, and that's how he's able to get in. And he is definitely trying to be like the king player, the manipulator, so that he can win his $10 million. The last perspective we have is Gigi. You also meet Gigi and Savannah Grayson in book 4. So just keep that in mind. Gigi gets offered a ticket herself by Grayson, her half-brother. And she's like, no, I want to earn it. So then it goes to her sister Savannah. So Savannah gets an invitation ticket. Gigi finds a wild card ticket, of course, with some manipulation from Rohan. And then you find all 3 of these characters, Lyra, Rohan, and Gigi, on the island that they really talk about. I think book 2 is where it's the focus of the book. The island where there were some people that were unalived in a fire. So you are actually at that island and you see the ruins of the mansion. So it's a scene that we've been to before. And Jennifer had mentioned that there were a lot of Easter eggs coming into this book. So the 3 perspectives I think really help. The biggest focus of this entire game is an escape room. And it's a very elaborate escape room. You have 3 different escape rooms. So there's 3 different sets of puzzles. They're all kind of similar, but they have different answers along the way, except for the first puzzle. The first puzzle, everyone has the exact same answers. You have a total of 7 competitors. That's why there were 7 cards besides the ultra rare Grayson cards, because Grayson is actually monitoring this year's games to make sure that there's no cheating. He is as in the dark about the games as the competitors are. And you have these, again, 3 escape rooms. You have Rohan and Savannah in one escape room. You have Knox and Brady, who I haven't really talked about much, but I guess they were in the first Grandest Game, and I hope we see more of them in Divine Rivals. You have Knox and Brady and Gigi in the second escape room, and then you have Odette, who is an older woman competing in the games. She and Grayson and Lyra are in the third escape room. So very interesting, very twisty from there. I'm honestly giving this a 4.5 out of 5 stars, and I think part of it is, I guess I never really knew how to word it in Jennifer's other books, but there are certain things, I think because it was going so fast, that my brain couldn't picture, and that's where it went too fast. With the pacing of this book being a little slower, I still had trouble picturing some of the actions that Jennifer was describing, and that's because Jennifer explained to us on the book tour that she has aphantasia, which I'm gonna put like a little sample of like what the test is here. And so it's when you like ask somebody to imagine an apple. It's on a scale of like 1 to 5 what you see. I'm someone that honestly, I'm between a 2 and a 1. I feel like I can see entire landscapes in my head, entire movie scenes, entire people. Now, is it always exactly what the author writes? No. Sometimes I just like ignore that. But with Jennifer, she has a 5, so she can't really see anything in her head. And I think it does come across in this book more so than others, which is fine. It just makes it a little less enjoyable for me as somebody who does picture images in my head. So that's why like a 4.5. I feel bad taking it off because like, you know, I can't picture something in my head, but I feel like that is still me as a reader, and I feel like other readers see full movies in their head. So I just think it's good to know that there are some descriptions where like I would try to reread the sentence and really picture what was happening, and either a description was missing or something just felt off to where I couldn't fully connect the dots, and it took me out of the book a little bit. So nothing terrible, obviously. I still really like the Grandest Games. I think overall, depending on how many books come out, I'm gonna like this potentially more than the Inheritance Games, and I really do like the Inheritance Games. I just love seeing the fresh characters. All of their voices felt so unique. I knew whose chapter I was on, even if I had to put it down in the middle of the chapter. And I feel like that is not something that every author can do. I feel like voices can mix. Not this one. Absolutely phenomenal job by Jennifer on that front. So I'm super lucky to have met her. I'm just looking forward to Divine Rivals. And you see that in the back of this book. I kept calling it Divine Rivals. It's Glorious Rivals. That's my bad. So this is what like you get after the acknowledgments, which I feel like is almost like a Marvel movie trailer after the acknowledgments. I'm definitely checking all of my books that I read because I think this is such a smart marketing tactic. I just want to say the front of this book, I feel like does not make sense before you read the book, but I feel like now I understand every single thing. And I feel like her covers are always puzzles that you get to solve too. Really, really just enjoy that so much. So I had such a great time meeting Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I'm so glad I was able to read this book. I read it extremely fast. And I really think, segueing, I want to do a video in terms of trying to determine if I am a fast reader or not, but I don't fully know how to do it. So I'm still thinking of ideas for future videos. You will see a readathon actually next week because that is the only time I can do it in August, so that'll be fun. And then I'm meeting another author, Adeline Grace, for her series, which is very, very exciting. And I will be meeting 2 more authors, and we'll just see where the month of fall takes us. I don't have a lot of author events plans after that, so I know I'm going to have to get extra creative with videos. I'm looking around at all the books. I'm probably going to do a shelf reorganization video for you guys too, so lots of content still coming up. Let me know if there's anything specific you want to see, and keep on reading. I'll see you in the next one.